Hey everyone! In this video, I want to show you all a wild Discord server that I found. So on the surface, we have an NSFW trading server, where you can also purchase content from the owner. Now, one thing I'd like to point out here, in none of the advertisements does it say anything about having to be over the age of 18 to join. At best, it says 18 plus experiences, and from what I've seen, most NSFW servers will state that you have to be over the age of 18 to join. Now, once we join the server, you'll see that we're immediately given a role called Verified. Usually these types of servers will have you show some sort of identifying information to prove your age and gender, so that they can prevent minors and scammers from entering the space. This server flat out avoids that completely and lets everyone straight into it, calling them verified when they aren't verified at all. They're all random people with no verification. Because of this, the server is full of bots and frequently has minors join. To say that this is problematic is an understatement. Like, imagine how many minors join, get exposed to sexual interactions with adults, or get scammed. Which, by the way, all the scams here will be focused on flirting with someone, getting explicit photos of them, and then threatening to send the explicit photos to people that they know. Usually they can easily find the victim's family, because by the time that they have the explicit photos, they would have already added each other on social media. So if you think about it, the server could also be a illegal content factory, if you know what I mean. Like, this is horrible. There are probably hundreds of victims, all because of the owner's inability to set up a way to verify members before letting them have full access to the server. Now, I'm sure this issue is common with a ton of these types of servers, but I thought that this one in particular warranted a video, because it has 10,000 members. This server's massive. And of course, I can't report the server unless I'm on my phone, and even then, we know how much that'll do because Discord moment. So diving a little bit deeper into the server, we have the owner, Lily. There's no information on them at all, and they pretty much use the server as a space to advertise their own content that they sell. It makes up over 90% of the messages that they've ever sent. Just look at this. Like, the only messages that they've sent that aren't begging people to buy their nudes are moderation related, usually pertaining to a scammer, or minor that has been identified in the server by a community member. I would like to show you all every single instance of Lily's quote-unquote moderation so that you can see just how bad it is. Don't worry, there isn't much to see, but it shines a really interesting light on how Lily handles federal crimes occurring in her server. So right here, we have a person picking the owner saying that there are only bots in this server, and then another person says not a lot of people are going to buy it off this server because it's full of bots. And then Lily says, you're complaining about the server, invite people so it'll be better. I don't see any bots. And then the person pings a bunch of bots. And then Lily says, just don't message the bots then, I don't know what to tell you. And then this user, Keto, they come in and they say, why TF do you care? It's obvious when it's a bot. Now this message is funny to me, because 2 hours earlier, Keto was complaining about blackmailers and minors in the server, to which Lily says they are banned. In this next image, we have a person coming in, saying, a lot of stuff that makes me really uncomfy, I'd rather not repeat it. This user pings the owner saying that his bio said he was 15. He said he's not, and then Lily comes in advertising, and then the person asks Lily again about it, and Lily says, well, there's no proof, so I can't ban. Yes, there probably is a federal crime happening in my server right now, but oh well. Lily says, for all I know, you could be lying, and the whole thing's ridiculous. Next up here, this person says, yo, there's people in here trying to send illegal content. The owner asks for who's doing it, and then I assume it was dealt with, because there was nothing more on it since then. So right here, this person comes in asking for people to look at his girlfriend's pictures because he is a cuck. He gets made fun of, and then Lily says to just let him be and to stop judging him. Despite all Lily's problems, she doesn't kink shame, and that is really important to me, so at least she's good there. Also right here, this person, bored with life, older male, tall, fit, looking for female only. This person's really funny. I'm going to show you some of their messages later. But right here, the person tells them to chill, and then Lily yells at them again. He says, let him be. Go talk in general if you're going to judge everyone. Which, again, really cool for Lily for standing up for people against kink shaming. In this next example, I can't find the message because it was deleted, but I assume someone posted something that identified themselves as a minor. And then people realize that he's a minor, and they tell him don't ban him, which is funny, I guess. And then they start asking if the owner saw it, saying let's pray she didn't. And then eventually they just discuss some random things until finally Lily comes in and bans the person. They get sad that he was banned, and then they discuss the fact that they were just trying to talk and not do anything weird, so it was alright. And Lily says, well, he's a minor, so he has to be banned. In this next example, there's a really interesting thing here. This person joined, Lily said welcome, and the person seems to know who they are because they said, I think I've seen this server before. What made you want to start it? And then Lily says, I just want to get my product out there, give people the opportunity to have fun, which is really interesting to me because it seems like Lily must have had a server at some point before for the same kind of thing, or at least hosted some sort of community for this subject. And then also right here, Lily says, oh yeah, for sure, everyone here is 18 up. Remember that. Because 9 hours earlier in the day, someone says, isn't this supposed to be 18 plus? And then a random miner comes out and says, no, it's not. It's not always NSFW. So a person's asking, wait, isn't the server 18 plus? And then a miner just identifies themselves and then Lily bans them. So like before, oh no, there are no miners here. When like 8 hours ago, you literally banned one. Right here, another miner outs themselves, saying something's wrong with the male nudes section. They say that they can't view it, and the person says it means your account isn't over 18. Now, maybe it's because Lily had like a weird server permission setting, but I'm just gonna go with the fact that they were probably a minor. That's it for all the moderation messages that Lily has. I know, it was pretty quick. There wasn't too much moderation, was there? So now that we've gone through all the moderation, let's look at the rules and see how well they're applied. Must be 18 years of age or older. If skeptical, be asked to present an ID. Only send your own nudes. No selling unless you're verified, which the server has like a little verification area for people to sell their own content, and then you can get like a verified role, which only one person has that. And it's really interesting because the only person who has that role actually has their own community, which has like a whole verification system that's properly set up, but Lily doesn't. No spamming, blackmailing, respect everyone, follow the rules. English is the only language allowed, don't add a mod, no self-promoting or sending links, be respectful. Like, I guess the most useful rule here is to not send any links, because you'll get a lot of people clicking links on the internet that could really mess you up. So at least we have one decent rule. Like, out of all these rules, only one of them is kind of useful. And even then, it doesn't matter that much because there's no moderation. Like, the server has 10,000 members, and oh my god, it's really hard to conjugate how ridiculous this is. I'm especially surprised that the server hasn't been taken down yet. Like, I can't imagine how many federal crimes have been committed here. If the server had like 500 members, I could see why it would still exist, but 10,000 is wild. So throughout all this, we can see that a lot of the community members are pretty sure that the server is mostly full of scammers, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because as we know, there's no verification effort and barely any moderation. And no, I don't count moderation as having your community bring problems to you just for you to tell them that you don't see the issue. In fact, the only reason why I found this server in the first place was because a friend DM'd me saying that they knew someone who was getting extorted by a scammer in the server. Which, by the way, here's some of the scammers' accounts, and also more proof there's no active moderation. There actually used to be more accounts than the ones in the picture. I just had to rush to take the picture because the victim reported the account and then they started banning all the copies. Before we wrap up the video here, I do want to share the funny community member I was talking about with you guys, just because they're really funny. So for context, the person bored with life, they send tons of messages asking for people to chat. And anyway, after that, this random person comes in and says the N slur with a hard R. And then another person comes in and pings a member saying, don't hit this person up, they're a scammer. Bored with Life is thankful. You know, he's just a really polite guy. Now, one thing I'd like to point out here that's really interesting is that the scammer that was pinged is still in the server. Like, still, they're here in the server. Absolutely impeccable moderation. Bored with Life, I hope you're doing better in your love quest than you were all those months ago. Alright everyone, that's it for the video. If you liked it, consider subscribing for more content, and if anyone from Discord sees this, please deal with the server. Thanks, and bye!